My parents skipped my wedding, just because I refused to make it less fancy than my sister's perfect one. I stood there in my bridal gown, hands shaking as the priest whispered, "Are your parents coming?" And all I could do was force a smile. The empty seats in the front row burned into my chest like a scar. Everyone was watching, whispering, judging, and I could almost hear my mom's voice echoing in my head. Faith always tries too hard to compete with her sister. Before we go deeper, don't forget to hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this story if you've ever been underestimated by your own family. Now let's continue. When my sister Emily got married 2 years ago, my parents spent over $80,000 on her wedding. A luxury venue, diamond decor, horse carriage, the works. But when it came to me, they said, "Keep it simple. Faith, we already spent too much on Emily's." I didn't argue. I just quietly worked extra hours, took freelance jobs, and saved for 2 years to have my own dream wedding. I wanted a moment that was mine, not a comparison. But the day I showed my mom the venue photos, she frowned. "You can't outshine your sister," she snapped. "She's the golden one. People will think you're showing off." My dad agreed instantly. "Faith, tone it down. We won't attend if you turn this into a circus." I thought they were bluffing. I laughed it off, believing they'd come around once the invitations went out. But when the day arrived, nothing. Not a call, not a text. The limo pulled up for me, and I sat there in silence, realizing both my parents had chosen ego over their daughter's happiness. As I walked down the aisle, my maid of honor whispered, "Faith, do you want to postpone?" But I shook my head. I wasn't going to let their absence destroy my moment. The photographer kept asking, "Do you want us to skip the family photos?" Each word felt like a knife. What no one knew was that the entire time I was smiling through the ceremony, something much bigger was happening behind the scenes. Something that would turn my parents' pride into regret so deep they'd never recover from it. Because what they didn't know was that the entire wedding, every flower, every light, every detail, wasn't funded by debt or desperation. It was funded by something they never believed I could do. And when they found out where that money really came from, their so-called perfect daughter would be the one hiding her face. The next morning, while my parents were bragging about Emily's latest charity dinner on Facebook, their phones started blowing up with pictures from my wedding. My gown, the chandeliers, the breathtaking garden setup, everything looked straight out of a movie. Within hours, their friends were commenting things like, "Faith's wedding was stunning," and "You must be so proud." But instead of pride, they felt panic. My mom immediately called me, not to congratulate me, but to scold me. "Faith, how could you do this? Everyone's comparing your wedding to Emily's. You embarrassed us," she hissed. Her tone was dripping with anger, not love. I stayed silent for a second before replying. "Embarrassed? You didn't even show up." She went quiet. Then my dad took the phone, trying to sound calm. "You could have just done something small, simple. We told you not to go overboard." I took a deep breath. "Dad, I didn't do this to compete. I did it because I finally could." That last line confused them. They didn't know the truth yet. That for the last 2 years, while Emily posted about her perfect life on Instagram, I'd been building something on my own. Emily always looked down on me. She'd say things like, "Faith, you work too hard for too little," or "You should just marry rich like I did." What she didn't know was that while she was relying on her husband's money, I was quietly building my own brand, designing wedding dresses online, working with small clients, and slowly turning it into a real business. I didn't post about it. I didn't brag. I just kept saving. Every dollar I earned went into my company, and eventually, one of my designs went viral. Orders started pouring in. Brides from all over the country wanted my dresses. Within a year, I made more money than both my parents combined. But I never told them. So, when I said I finally could, I meant I paid for everything myself. Every flower, every plate, every moment of that beautiful night. But I wasn't done yet. 2 days later, my mom called again, this time, her voice trembling. "Faith, where did you get the money?" I smiled quietly. "You'll see, Mom. Just come to the open house this weekend." She hesitated but agreed. When Saturday came, my parents and Emily showed up, expecting some apartment or maybe a rental hall. But when they saw the massive glass studio with my name, Faith Designs, shining in gold above the door, their jaws dropped. Emily's voice cracked. "Wait, this is yours?" I nodded. "Every piece in here, I designed it. Every penny I spent on my wedding came from this business you all thought was a waste of time." My dad's face went pale, and my mom muttered, You never told us, because you never asked," I replied softly. But what came next would break the silence, and completely turn the tables on Emily's so-called perfect marriage. Emily's husband, Ryan, had been standing quietly in the back until that moment. But as he looked around the studio, the custom gowns, the bustling designers, the framed magazine cover with my face on it, he suddenly stepped forward. "Wait, you're Faith Morgan, the one who designed the Celeste collection?" His voice cracked in disbelief. I froze for a second. "Yeah, that's me." He turned pale. "My company tried to sign a deal with your brand last month, but you rejected us. My boss said the owner refused to work with us because of conflict of interest. I had no idea it was you." The room went dead silent. My mom blinked, confused. "Conflict of interest? What does that mean?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "It means my company tried to copy one of Faith's designs without her permission. She sent a legal notice through her attorney. We thought the designer was some big CEO, not my wife's sister." Emily's face turned red. "You what?" she snapped, glaring at him. I crossed my arms, finally letting the truth spill. "Yeah, Emily. That simple sister you loved mocking for working late nights? She's the one your husband's company tried to steal from. Guess karma has a sense of humor." My parents didn't move. My mom's lips trembled. "Faith, why didn't you tell us all this before?" I looked her straight in the eyes. "Because every time I tried, you reminded me that Emily was the successful one. You never believed I could be anything more than her shadow. So I stopped trying to prove myself and started building myself." Emily snapped. "You think you're better than me now? Just because you made some dresses?" I smiled calmly. "No, Emily. I just learned that I don't need to dim my light to make you shine." Ryan tried to speak again, but my phone buzzed. It was a message from my manager. I opened it and froze. The timing couldn't have been more poetic. I turned the screen toward everyone. It was a contract offer from one of the biggest luxury fashion houses in New York, offering me a 7-figure deal for an exclusive collection. My dad stammered, "Is that real?" "Yes, Dad," I said softly. "It's real. All of it." Emily's perfect little world started cracking right before everyone's eyes. But the most shocking twist was still waiting, hidden in the one secret Ryan never wanted anyone to find out. Ryan's face turned white as he realized I wasn't done. "Wait, you knew?" he whispered, almost to himself. I stepped closer, holding a folder I'd been keeping tucked under the counter. "Yes, Ryan. I knew about the company you and Emily invested in, the one that stole my designs last year. I didn't confront you then because I wanted to do this my way, silently." He tried to interrupt, but I raised a hand. "You see, while Emily was showing off her perfect life, I was quietly securing every copyright, every contract, and every client who could ever compete with you. Every little deal you thought was yours, I had already anticipated. Every step you took, I had a plan for." Emily started shaking. You planned all of this?" I nodded. "Not to hurt you, to protect what I built. And ironically, it also shows everyone here who truly worked for success and who just relied on appearances." Then I handed Ryan the folder. Inside were contracts, emails, and bank statements proving that my designs had been licensed globally, with millions in revenue deposited into accounts he had no access to. "These numbers, these deals, they're all mine. You underestimated me and your little empire? It's a shadow compared to what I built quietly, without anyone's approval." My parents gaped. My dad whispered, "Faith, we had no idea." I turned to Emily. "And this is the moment you realize that being perfect in everyone's eyes doesn't matter. Hard work, persistence, and believing in yourself, even when no one else does. That's what creates power." Emily collapsed into a chair, speechless. Ryan just stared at me, anger and respect battling on his face. My mom whispered, We were wrong." I smiled. but inside I felt a surge of satisfaction. For years they had doubted me, mocked me, and told me I'd never be enough. But now, the silent underdog had won, and just when everyone thought the story had ended, I pressed play on a video I had prepared for the wedding's after-party. On the big screen, images of my latest fashion line flashed alongside a news headline: Faith Morgan becomes youngest self-made fashion mogul in the country. The room went utterly silent. No one moved. Emily's mouth opened, then closed, unable to form a word. My parents' faces were pale, a mix of shock and awe. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. The best revenge isn't shouting. It's proving them wrong while smiling quietly. Because sometimes the people who laugh at you the most are the first ones to cry when they see your success. The silence stretched for a few unbearable seconds. Then my mom finally broke it, her voice shaking. Faith, we never imagined. I let her trail off. There was no need for apologies. Not yet. I had waited 15 years for this exact moment, and now it was mine to savor. Emily finally managed a weak, bitter laugh. So this is how you beat me? With money and dresses. I shook my head gently. It's not about beating you, Emily. It's about proving to myself that I don't need anyone's approval to succeed. You had your spotlight, your praise. I built my own, quietly, while you were busy watching and judging me. Her husband, Ryan, looked like he was reconsidering everything. Faith, I underestimated you, he admitted, almost reluctantly. I smiled, letting the words sink in. This was the ultimate victory. Not out of spite, but because I finally held all the power that everyone had denied me. I walked around the studio, letting my parents and Emily take in every detail. The luxurious mannequins, the carefully curated gowns, the awards I had kept hidden until now. This, I said softly, is proof that hard work and belief in yourself matters more than anyone else's opinion. I didn't need to be like Emily. I needed to be me. My mom's eyes welled up with tears, and even my dad, usually so stoic, looked stunned and humbled. Emily buried her face in her hands, realizing for the first time that life isn't about looking perfect in front of everyone. It's about creating something real, something lasting, something that no one can take away from you. And as I stood there, surrounded by my creations, I felt a freedom I had never known. The girl who was mocked, underestimated, and sidelined by her own family had not only survived, she had thrived beyond their wildest imagination. That day, I didn't just win a wedding or prove my parents wrong. I won myself, and in that victory, I finally understood. Sometimes the loudest applause comes not from the crowd you expected, but from the life you quietly built while they laughed. No one ever skipped my success again.